Mark Tinkey here. This time I'm coming to you with a video all about making jewelry for your dolls. I had this idea. I asked Rachel if she'd be interested in me doing a video on this, and she graciously said yes. So thank you to Rachel, thank you to the VDC team for all the hard work you do on all the videos that you do and all the content that you put out and product, all of it. And so hopefully this will inspire you to make some accessories and things for all of the great clothes that you get through VDC, and you maybe were thinking, oh, I want a pair of earrings that match this, or a necklace that goes with this one. So I'm going to show you a couple techniques for how to do that. They're pretty basic techniques that you can then expound on and sort of go your own way with. So have fun with it, experiment, and share your creations and show us what you come up with. So here we go.
Okay, so I'm going to just start by showing you some supplies and what you're going to be needing to make. We're going to make a charm necklace and a little charm bracelet. So I have some chain here. These come on a card like this. Usually they're packaged different ways, but in the jewelry making aisle, you'll see different chains. This one's a little bit too small to do charms on. It'll be very frustrating. So get something with some links that are a little bit bigger that are going to be easier to attach things to. I already pre-cut this. I just sort of roughly measured it around the doll's neck, finished length, and then it's going to be a little bit longer because you're going to add a clasp and a little jump ring at the end to attach it. These are jump rings. These are these little round rings. I know you've seen them in that jewelry making aisle. And what they do is, if you see, they have that little split in them, and that lets you get your little pliers, twist them, and open them up so you can slide beads, or you can put that on the chain and then twist it and closes it back up. That's a jump ring, and they come in all different sizes. I have a couple different sizes here. There's some really little ones. And then my pliers, you saw me using these. I really like the round-nosed ones. Those really help for if you're trying to like turn a wire under or curl something. And these ones are really good for gripping, like you just saw the jump rings, the flat nose. If you're gonna get one pair, I would get the flat nose. Start with those. And then you'll also need something to cut the chains and things with, and your little flathead pins. Sometimes you have to trim off some of these, so you need something to cut those with. These work okay. They're not the best. The little ones, I have a bigger pair that really gets the job done. So something in between I would recommend. You don't need something this big. I just had these, so I used them. Other things you can get along the way, if you so desire, are these really teeny little, see how like tiny those are? Very pointed. If you're doing fine little things, those are kind of fun to have. And then these ones are flat, but just a little bit longer. But I would recommend starting off with some small stuff. But that depends on your dexterity too, and what you're comfortable with, what you are comfortable holding, that kind of thing. I got these charms for the charm necklace. I think I got these end of season, but Joann's and Michael's always have really cool little charms. You can get them for a couple dollars if they're on clearance. They do them for every season. They're just really fun. You can also use broken bits of jewelry or broken any kind of bead or whatever. If it has a hole in it, like these beads do, like that, or if it has a little, you see how those have the little ring attached? You're going to be able to attach it to the chain. So those are the two criteria. So yeah, and then I have some beads. These I got in a little box of beads at a yard sale. It was like 50 cents for a bunch of things. So I have these. And you'll see how we're going to use all of those. Here's a little, I just cut the smaller piece of chain for the bracelet. Now for the bracelet, I probably won't put a clasp on it. I will just close it and then I'll pop the hand off to put it on. But you can totally put a clasp on it if you would rather not pop the hands off. But for me, that's what I'm going to do. And it'll be the same as the necklace, attaching a clasp. So it works either way. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I want to make this a 2-layered necklace, like a 2-tier. So I'm going to cut another piece of chain, a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter than the piece I already cut. And that's totally up to you. You can or cannot do 2 2 tiers or, see, and then you just kind of snip that, bend it, there it goes. See, then you throw that away. Yeah, so then you got your 2 lengths of necklaces. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do to start with is take one end and take one of my little jump rings, and I think, yeah, this flat one. So find the opening, pry it open, and then hook that in there, right? And then I'm gonna do that with the shorter length, so they'll all be on one clasp. Okay, then think for ease, oh no, I could do, so what you could do if you want to make it easier to close for yourself is you can do a bigger jump ring. And then that's easier to get your clasp through to find. So since you're making it, if you want to make your life easier, putting the jewelry on, you can use a bigger clasp or a bigger jump ring. Then we're going to do the other side, just the same thing we just did. And then instead of doing that bigger jump ring, I have a little spring ring clasp here. You can use whatever kind of clasp you want. You could even do a just a loop of wire and close it with a little hook. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work. So I am going to attach this bigger spring ring. Close that up. I thought that jump ring or that spring ring had something to attach a jump ring to, but it did not. So, boom, there we go. There you are, and then that's your little closure. So then you go back and you find your large jump ring that you did there, and then ta-da, ta-da. So there you go. And there is the beginnings. Now is the fun part, and you get to add the charms wherever you want. I'm going to take these charms off the back and I'll be right back. Now what you can do is sort of plan out how you want this to look. Sort of just lay them out. I know I want to do the butterfly on the charm bracelet. I want the leaf here, little dragonfly. So that looks good to me. I like to keep odd numbers on things, so I think that's good. I think the little butterfly will be very cute just on the bracelet. So then what I'm going to do, see, these already have a jump ring on them. You could replace those if you wanted with something smaller. And I will on some of them to have them a little bit closer, but you don't have to. So you just bend that open and then somewhere around there. And the beauty is you can redo this as many times as you want till you get it how you want it. It's not permanent, you know, you're not like gluing them or soldering them to anything, so you can play with it as much as you want. It's really fun if you get a couple of these cards and really load it down. I think that's a really fun look. So, all right, so let's do another one to show you. And it will hang differently depending on where you put them too. So that's something to keep in mind. I kind of want the flower in the center of that, so I'm gonna grab it. And close it. Oh, no, that's not good. Then I just open it up again. Trying to keep that in focus. Close it. No, see? Kind of boogered that one up. I'm going to use this other spring ring because I messed up the one that came on the flower charm. Twist it closed. This does take a little bit of practice. Just FYI, but have fun with it. There's no competition. Nobody's in a contest. Nobody's in timing you. So see, you're just adding them on. So we'll be back. I'm going to do the rest of these and I'll be right back. So there we are, all the charms attached. I'm going to show you how to attach a bead to this. We have our little flathead pins, right? These have different sizes of these little flatheads. So you just kind of trial and error depending on what kind of beads you get. You might need something that has a bigger like head on the end of it. But you just thread that through and then you pick where you might want. I think we're going to do them on this chain here. Just put that through. Then, so I think that's going to be a little bit too long. So I'm going to trim it. This is just sort of, you want to be able to bend this back to the base. And you can use it the long way, but I want it to be a little bit shorter and not stand out so far. So clip that off. It's not stand out so far from the chain. Then you grab that and see what I have there? Okay. And then you twist this. You want to really get it as close as possible so it doesn't slide off. But see what I did there? How you just like twisted it, and then you can see. So I added a bead there. So you can do that as many times as you want. I'm going to go add a bunch and be right back. You can see I added a bunch more of those beads. I think it might be helpful if I showed you how I attach those without actually showing, without having the chain and everything in the way. So that occurred to me while I was doing all that. So put that through the bead. Then you have this. So I'll show you what I mean by how you might want to trim it. This is where the round nose ones come in really handy because it's a little harder to do with the flat nose ones, but you can. So you're just going to twist this around and you're just kind of making this like teardrop. But you need it to be as close to itself as possible. You really need to get that in there or else it'll pop off. But you see how that's longer, right? So that you'll get a different look if you use different lengths of the T-pin, which is totally fine. Like that can be that's a cool thing too. But if you want it to be, I like to use just different sides of beads to get a look. So I would trim that a little bit, twist that around, and it's just a little closer. And then I get in there at a different angle. And there you go. And that's how you would attach that to the chain. So that's what I did. Okay, that's kind of overlapping a little bit. What I would like to do is I like to have it sort of flush against, not like crossing over. See what I mean there? See how that's kind of going off to the side a little bit? I like to get it right up next to it. Now it's crossing on the other side. But it's tricky. This takes practice. I'm not going to lie. This is a little bit tricky, but you can do it, and it's really fun. And you'll just want to add these things to every chain that you have. So that's how that works. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing with the bracelet and be right back. I'm going to show you how to make a little pair of earrings too. I got these little findings, and it's just a little pierced ear, and then it has this little thing on the bottom that you can attach something to. So you could literally do just a bead like I just showed. With that technique, you could do any of those charms. I'm going to stack some beads and do something with it. Again, out of my little 50-cent, you can see what I'm doing right there. Just have this little bead here. And then I liked these little rose ones, these little turquoise. Just take that, put it through there. Now I'm not going to trim anything this time because with the two beads on it, see, these are tricky. Tricky little things. Trying to keep it in focus for you guys. Here we go. All right. I promise it's easier when you're not trying to film yourself do it. But how else can I teach all you guys how to do this and have all this fun? Especially when there's so many cool beads out there and things that you can go. I always like looking through those aisles and I'm like, what am I going to do with it? And now you have something you can do with it. Squeeze it there. There we go. And then you have a sweet little earring for your doll. I love them. That's so cool. You can do, I love it because you could, all of the separates that Rachel has for VDC, you can, oh, look at that. That's so funny. Press the rose on my finger. You could do something specific to an outfit that you like. Match the earrings to a dress that maybe you didn't have earrings for. I think it's really fun. So it occurred to me that I made that pair of earrings, but not all the dolls have pierced ears, such as this Afro Nima Basic. So I was going to show you how to pierce the ears. You take a push pin. You will be tempted to try to use a straight pin if you can't find a push pin, but that will not work. So you have to have a push pin that's like this. I like something that has they come, you can find really cute ones, but I like ones that have something flat you can press on. So, and then you just find your spot. You could mark this with a little pencil if you wanted to, but I've done a bunch of these, so I feel confident. famous last words, and you find your spot, and then you press really hard. It like you do have to give a little bit of force, and you push it in, and there you go. And then we'll do the other one. There you go. And there they are, pierced ears. So we can take our earrings that we just made, put them in our newly pierced ears. Cute, right? So there you go. Be brave. I know you can do it. If you haven't done this before, it's pretty easy. So see that one, I think I might want to go and just, they kind of close up a little bit too if you don't leave earrings in. Just know that it is not the end of the world if you don't get it exactly where you want it, because by the time you put an earring in, you won't really see it. Do that. And then there she is. I'll show you the whole finished look in a second here. Whoop, there they are. And so here's the finished, all the finished products on the Afro Nima Basic. And she's all decked out in her VDC finery. You can see the little charm bracelet made just attaching the charms and the beads like we did for the necklace. And so yeah, I made this to go with this outfit and this purse. So I tried to pick up the red, the blue, I mean just stuff to think about if you're trying to do it for something specific. Otherwise just make something that you like and have fun with it. You know, because it should be fun at the end of the day, right? And I really love how this turned out. I think it's super cute on a great doll. So, yeah. I thought I would show something simple as well. So it's kind of two different levels of techniques here. So this is just going to be simple strung necklace, and I'm using button thread, like buttonhole thread, just Coats and Clark. Super easy to find. It's a little stronger than regular thread. You could also use quilting thread. Silamide is another really strong thread. You could get beading threads and stuff, but you don't always have to get the specific stuff, and you might actually have this around. I just wouldn't use regular thread because that's a little too flimsy for this kind of thing. I just cut a length of it. I make it longer than I'm gonna need it because you'll see this one's a little bit different how we're gonna do it. And then I have these two things. I have a lobster claw clasp, probably my favorite ones to use. I just think they're a little bit easier to open and close. And it's a little bit bigger. And then this is what the lobster claw will connect to. So it's just a little piece that looks like that. I don't know what all this stuff is called. I just, I'll just go buy it because I look for things that I'm like, oh, I can use it for this. And so you're gonna start with this piece. Put the thread through there and tie a couple of knots in that. After you tie your knots and after you finish your necklace and you have it the way you want it, I would take a little bit of glue and put it on those knots just to secure it further and prevent it from, kind of working itself loose. Especially if you play with your dolls a lot and you want to be putting the jewelry on and off a lot, it can work itself loose sometimes. So I would just take a little bit of glue and do that. And then I'll trim this at the end, but you would trim this tail here. You don't want to trim it too close because then that's going to work itself out and it'll unravel and it'll be a mess. But if you put the glue, that'll also help you to be able to cut that a little bit closer. Then what I do is I use these handy little needle threaders that you get. I don't know if you can even see this little thing, this little green, it almost looks like dental floss. They come in these little things. They're super handy and it is a lifesaver. So you put your thread through here. Now the beads I'm using have relatively large holes in them, but if they had smaller holes, this is even better, works even better. And then I have some just different beads, and I'm gonna start with this sort of hematite finish one. And you pull that through, and these are stiff, these needle threaders, so it's a lot easier than trying to push flimsy thread through the hole of a bead. And then I kind of decided that I wanted to do this combination, but you can see, super easy. The fun part is sort of, laying them out. You can buy those trays that let you sort of put out the beads and stuff. You don't have to. I mean, I just kind of do it on a table, but they roll away from you, as you saw. And it just happened again. So I don't know, maybe get those trays to do that. I'm going to thread a bunch more and be right back. So I have this all beaded. I just picked a pattern that I liked and then order the beads, but you can do whatever you want. That's where you get to have fun. I thought it looked pretty. You'll see the outfit I'm going to put it with. I kind of had it in something in mind. And then you take your lobster claw. You could use your needle threader again, which is probably what I should do. But this will demonstrate why you should get those, because it's harder. Joanne needle threaders are not a sponsor, so I get no kickbacks. This is actually the hardest part of making these kind of necklaces, is getting this knot, this first one. Did we do it? We did it. Okay, and then I'm just going to knot that a couple more times. And then again, I would just put a little dab of glue, like tacky glue, even Elmer's or E6000, whatever you have. Knotted. Just going to clip that. I'm going to leave kind of a little bit more than I normally would because I didn't put glue on them yet. I don't want it to fall apart before I get to show you the finished product on a doll. Oh, there you go. And then there's your lobster claw. So that's how to make a simple strung bead necklace bracelet. You could also do a lobster claw on the clasp like this and just attach, chains to it. If you wanted to do multi-level or like multi-layer, multi-tier necklace or something. I mean, I could even do that with this if I wanted to take a little jump ring and connect it and add something if you wanted to sort of have them be multiple. So that's another super simple way to do a necklace. There you go. It's almost a friendship bracelet for you. You can share your doll's jewelry. There you go. And here's the simplest of the necklaces we made, but I still think it makes a really great impact. Just the strung beads with the clasp, some knotted string. But I think she looks great. Yeah. Head to toe VDC there. And there she is. So here's another strung necklace. I have a different clasp again. I have a whole collection of different things, but this one's just a simple little hook. This one's really easy to use because it's a larger hook than is normally used on doll jewelry, but there's no little levers or anything to use, so it's kind of a good one if you don't have the best dexterity with your fingers. And I got these flat gold beads, and I'm going to show you a little bit different, how to make a little bit fancier strung bead necklace. So I strung those, and then I'm just going to tie them to a jump ring. This is like a double, I don't know. I end up with a lot of random things, but whatever works, whatever. You don't need to necessarily go out and buy a bunch of stuff to make jewelry. Look what you already have in your craft, in your little craft bins and containers. And because I would wager, oh, I got a little messed up there. I would wager that a bunch of you out there have some craft drawers. So yeah, I'm just going to knot that. But we're not going to cut it off. I'm going to show you what we're going to do, actually. Okay, so instead of cutting that off, I'm just going to do... Okay, I'm going to actually do one more knot. Then I'm going to do another strand coming down. It's going to be a two-tiered thing. When you use bigger beads, sometimes you need to have a little bit of a space, because if I put this one right here, it's just going to be a little too crowded. So what I'm going to do is do a couple smaller beads to space myself away from those before I start the bigger ones. So let me go find what those are going to be. And just use these little seed beads. Because again, I'm just creating a little space. You're not really even going to see these. But these are those little tiny seed beads. This is where the little threader comes in handy. These are tricky little guys. Maybe don't try to do two at one time, Mark. Oh, there we go. 2. You can sort of see, I just want a little bit of space because I think we're gonna need to do another couple more, but we'll see. Because I just want that to be able to, see, I sort of want it to be in between those two, and if I didn't have beads there, it wouldn't. So it looks like I'm gonna need a couple more. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Because I want them to sort of be nestled in to each other. Take that off. I think 2 more of these guys should do it. Yeah, well, there's still a little bit of a space. I think we need 1 more. I think we need 1 more. Yeah, so I like that. So see, I just needed to clear that, and then that's gonna be towards the back. You're not really gonna see that. But if you do, it sort of blends in anyway, because it's all gold. Even though those are, I guess those are pretty shiny. They're not as super shiny as these little flat beads are. I just thought these were really pretty. These kind of reminded me of some of the Schiaparelli jewelry. The finish they do on those, that really bright gold, but it looks sort of hammered and a little bit irregular. They do some really strange jewelry for Schiaparelli. It's cool, but it is, I mean, they are statement pieces. I don't know, you guys should look it up if you haven't seen them, but Schiaparelli jewelry and brooches, and they do eyeballs and all kinds of interesting stuff. Earrings in the shape of ears. It's not necessarily my thing, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the artistry and the creativity of it. Okay, you know what? We're gonna finish this off camera. And this is the 2-tiered necklace that we just made. This is the boost. This was that denim bustier. I just tucked the straps in. I didn't cut them off. A little cardigan, but you can see it changes the whole look of the outfit. But I think it looks so great with her makeup. Yeah, I think it looks great. I think any Nemo with curly hair, this would look great with. But let me just spin this around so you can see. See how those little rows of beads just offset this just enough to let it lay right, or how I wanted it to. Not necessarily right. I mean, you might want to do it differently than I did. But it just goes to show you, you can use something that maybe looks a little overscale for the doll, but it gives it, I think it's a really cool look. It's a really cool statement piece. I think that would look great with a gown, simple gown, but also looks great with these jeans. So there she is.
So there you go. There's a couple techniques on making doll jewelry that hopefully will give you some ideas, and you can expound on them if you don't want to do exactly what I did. Hopefully it gave you some ideas for some things that you could do. Maybe you have a stash of beads and jewelry making stuff that you've never done anything with, or maybe you've always gone in those aisles in Michael's and thought like, well, I don't know how to use that. I don't know what that's for. Yeah, go have fun, use the coupons and get some of that stuff and experiment, and then show us what you came up with. Yeah, I would love to hear in the comments other things that you might like to learn how to make, or maybe techniques that you use that you'd like to share and tell me about, and then maybe I can learn something also. Have fun. Enjoy. Bye.